Happy Death Day is a film that is directed by Christopher Landon. It stars Jessica Roth, Israel Broussard, some chick named Ruby. You guys ever seen Groundhog's Day? Yeah, you have. You've seen Groundhog's Day. If you don't know what Groundhog's Day is, you should probably crawl out from under that rock you've been living under. It's an old concept that features a whole, you have to live the day over and over and over again. Like, you live through a moment, you live through a day, and then something happens, and then the day starts over, and then it just repeats itself, repeats itself, repeats itself, repeats itself, repeats itself, repeats itself. It's an old concept that features a whole, you have to live the day over and over and over again. Like, you live through a moment, you live through a day, and then something happens, and then the day starts over, and then it just repeats itself, repeats itself, repeats itself, repeats itself, repeats itself, repeats itself. Same concept for this movie. There's this chick who, it's her birthday, obviously. Happy birthday, happy death day. So it's her birthday, and she's this popular college kid just going through life, and then she dies that night. Like, she gets killed by this weird person in an ugly baby mask. But something happens when she dies. She ends up waking up that morning and doing the same thing over and over again. Like, she keeps living the same exact day over and over again. And so the movie is basically about her trying to figure out who's trying to kill her and why the hell the day keeps resetting itself. I will say this movie definitely had its entertaining moments, and I'd be lying if I said that this movie did not reasonably entertain me. It is. It's a reasonably entertaining movie. It's also reasonably well directed and reasonably well shot. I like the way that Christopher Landon directed the whole run and chase sequences. You know, you've seen them in slasher flicks and horror movies all the time. I'll also say this, the performances in the movie are surprisingly good. The main chick in this movie, did I just forget her name? Holy shit, I think it's Jessica Roth. I don't know, I'm pretty sure I just forgot her name for some strange reason. The main chick in this movie, she gave a good performance, honestly, and I would say most of the performances in this movie are solid. You can work with it. Honestly, her character is so horrifically unlikable that if she gave a bad performance on top of having an unlikable character, I'm pretty sure I would have hated this fucking movie. But as it stands, she gives a good effort and she's watchable. If nothing else, even though you don't like her character, her performance is good enough that she makes you want to watch her. Obviously, a premise like this, every time that she dies and she comes back, you have to kind of change it up. You have to switch things up. You have to make it feel fresh every time she dies and wakes up and has to live the day over again. They do a good job of that in this movie, and they do play it to kind of a comedic thing. I wouldn't even call this a horror movie. It's more of a comedy, you know, like a horror comedy. They do try to go for some very funny moments with here. It's a lot more lighthearted than you would actually think a movie like this is gonna be. Granted, the tone is a little bit inconsistent, but I can work with that because there are some legitimately funny moments in this movie. I was laughing a little bit, sure. Having said that, I can't really highly recommend this movie or even say that it is a good movie, because it's not a good movie. First of all, the premise of this movie, the whole you have to live the day over and over again thing, the end game becomes predictable as shit. About 20 to 25 minutes into the movie, you feel like you already could predict or figure out who is killing her, because that's the big mystery, right? Who's killing her? Why does she keep coming back to life and the whole thing? Okay, well, 25 minutes into the movie, I feel like the movie answered it for me. There's a character that even says, like, well, whoever is killing you obviously knows that it's your birthday, so obviously you just do process of elimination. You use common sense. The killer keeps showing up everywhere that you show up. It seems to know your schedule. Okay, so how long does it take you to figure this shit out? Well, this movie had the predictable premise. It also had some really awful jump scares. I'm not kidding. There was one jump scare in this movie that was so bad, like so horrifically bad, that I just started dying laughing in the theater. It was hilarious to me because the jump scares in this movie are so poorly handled. They're so obvious. They're so fake with the way that they do it that you just can't help but laugh at some of them. Obviously, I mentioned this before, the main chick and really a large portion of the characters in the first hour plus of this movie are completely unlikable, and you hate them, and you kind of want everybody to die. In fact, it was kind of entertaining for me after a while. I was just rooting for the main chick in this movie to die over and over again. I got some kind of sick, sadistic pleasure out of it. By the way, her story arc is completely cliche too. You know exactly where they're going with the character. Have you seen How the Grinch Stole Christmas? Yeah, it's pretty much the same thing. You're not missing anything. The biggest problem that I had with this movie, though, is that they explain the who and the why of, you know, the whole somebody's killing her thing, but they don't explain the how and the what, and I feel like the how and the what are the two most important things in the film. The how and the what form the foundation on which this entire premise is built, and if you don't properly explain or set up the how and the what, then there is no foundation. By the end of the movie, the entire premise, this entire intriguing whole Groundhog Day premise had folded in on itself and collapsed, and you're just left wondering if anything in this movie even made sense. Honestly, just sit there for a second after the movie and then go back and think about some things, and you're just gonna be like, wow, you know what? No, nothing there made sense. I was gonna go guilty pleasure with this thing, but the more I thought about it, I was kind of like, no, it's not bad. It's just, it's not good. So What do you do when you have a movie that's not bad and not good? This movie's going in the same place that all the average movies on my channel go. The Fortress of Solitude. Alright guys, so happy death day, or happy birthday if it is your birthday. Enjoy. Like and subscribe to the Superfan Show, and as always, if you like what you see, tell me how you feel, and stay tuned to hear more from the Man of Steel. Peace.